What's up guys? In today's video, I'm gonna be talking about how to run easier without getting out of breath. So the first tip, and probably the most obvious tip, is to get in better shape, run more. You wanna increase your endurance, and then of course you're gonna be in better running shape. You're gonna feel like it's much easier. You're gonna feel like you're not getting out of breath as quickly. Your heart rate's gonna be able to go a little bit higher without you feeling like that heavy huffing and puffing. If you get in better shape and you start increasing your mileage little by little each week. The second tip, and one of the most important tips, is to fix your form and stay relaxed. I know staying relaxed sounds almost impossible when you feel like you're dying and you're running and you're out of breath and you feel like you can't move anymore, but staying relaxed is key, especially in your upper body. And to fix your form, a lot of us run with our fists clenched, we have our shoulders up high by our neck, and we're actually using up a lot more energy to do that than if we were just loosening up our arms, running with our arms nice and loose beside our hips, and kind of just going with the flow of our legs. You want your arm swing to kind of match your legs. You don't want to be pumping your arms too fast. Unless you're sprinting, that's kind of a different story. Then you want to have maybe a little bit tighter form in order to sprint as quickly as possible. But when we're talking about mileage and kind of moderate runs, getting your breath a little bit slower, you do want to stay relaxed. Make sure that your chest is up high, you have a slight lean forward, your knees are lifting up, you're not landing on your heels. If you are landing on your heels, you're very heavy on your feet. It is, of course, again, going to take more power, more energy, more force in order to do that. You want to land mid-foot to toe and kind of allow your feet to lightly touch the ground. I know, again, sounds crazy, but you don't want to feel your feet stomping on the ground. If you are running very heavy and running on your heels, we got to fix that. It's going to help a ton. It's going to make running feel a lot easier. One of the other tips, which kind of goes along with form, is to make sure that you have the right shoes. Now, if you are running in something like a training shoe or a flat shoe or something that's really not built for running miles, you're going to feel like you're just kind of like, slamming into the ground, kind of like what we talked about with the heel strike. There's running shoes, especially the Hokas, which I love, that are made to kind of propel you forward. The way a running shoe is made is for running. It's for that movement. So you want to make sure you have a running specific shoe and one that is fitted to your foot. I always recommend going into the running store and having them watch your gait, watch how your foot lands when you run and all of these things. A lot of running stores have treadmills in them, but this is super helpful when choosing a shoe that works for you, and it will really help you run a little bit easier. So the way that you breathe, and this is something that I do when I run, is I breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. That is like one of the most common questions that I get, is how do you breathe? Some people are like heavy mouth breathers. I don't suggest that. I always suggest to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, make it kind of, nice and calm. But someone, which I forget what his name is, suggests diaphragmatic breathing, which is belly breathing. So kind of feeling it in your stomach, feeling it and kind of exhaling using the diaphragm. So you want to make sure that you are kind of helping, your breath go into the stomach and then you're expanding through there. If you use a rhythmic pattern of breathing, this allows your body to take in more oxygen and then puts less stress on your body. What this means is just kind of going along with the rhythm of your feet. Rhythmic breathing. So one thing that you can do is do a 3-2-1 approach as well. So breathe in, 1, 2, 3, breathe out, 1, 2. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, breathe out, 1, 2. But again, you kind of want to match the breathing to your steps. Of course, if you're doing fast sprinting, you still want to slow down your breath. You don't want to be like huffing and puffing in these short breaths. That is using up way more energy. You're going to get out of breath way quicker. If you think about it in the way of like anxiety, so when we have anxiety, our heart rate increases. We tend to take these like shorter breaths. We find that we're getting exhausted. It's making us tense up more. It's making us have worse effects that are going on in our body. And this same thing can kind of happen with running. I don't want you to relate it to anxiety. However, when we quicken our breath, when we're taking short breaths, we're not allowing our body to take in enough oxygen. So you need to slow down your breathing, calm down, stay relaxed, and you'll find that everything else is less tense. You're staying calm, and thus will allow you to run further without getting out of breath as easily. Now, if you want to track this based on foot strikes, you can also think of inhaling for 3 foot strikes. So when your foot lands, 1, 2, 3, and exhaling for 1, 2. Okay, so you can kind of think about doing it like that if you do want to kind of focus on your steps. But you do have to think about your breathing and your form as you run when you are trying to get better at this and you're trying to figure out, how do I breathe? What can I do to make this a little bit easier on myself? But this kind of goes hand in hand. The next thing is making sure you're staying hydrated. If we are dehydrated, our heart rate's can increase. This will not help if you're trying to not get out of breath as quickly when you're running. Make sure you stay hydrated. So drinking water the day before, if you are someone that wakes up in the morning and starts running, you're dehydrated in those 7 to 9, hopefully, hours that you're sleeping. So when we wake up and we're just like trying to slam, a glass of water before running, if that, a lot of us don't want to have to pee though on our runs, so we don't drink. So if you are someone like this, I actually recommend at night, the night before, maybe put some salt in your water, do a hydration packet or something as like your last glass before you go to sleep, or put it by your bed for the first thing when you wake up in the morning, have that, give yourself some time, and then go ahead and go on your run. But make sure that you are staying hydrated before you begin running. Another thing to think about is pollen. If there is a very high pollen count, you will find that it's a little bit harder for you to breathe as you run. So run at a time when the pollen count is the lowest, which is typically in the morning or after it rains. The next thing is incorporating movements like high intensity movements with these sudden spikes in your heart rate can really actually help you get in shape when it comes to increasing your endurance and helping you run for longer. So doing hip movements like jump squats, burpees, you could do something to where you have a circuit. Like this is something that I used to do, is where we would run a 400 meter, a quarter of a mile, one lap around the track. After that 400, we would do like 20 burpees and 20 jump squats, go another 400, stuff like that really helps. And then things around the track like a roll-on recovery. So you'll do a sprint of like, let's say you do 200 meter sprint, which is half a lap, and then you go straight into a 200 meter jog as your recovery. So you're not taking a full stop. So kind of train your body to kind of keep your heart rate spiked, and then you're not going down all the way, you're going in this little safe zone where you're kind of letting it come down to the certain point and you're spiking it again. So all these little tricks and getting your body kind of used to a higher heart rate, the shorter recoveries or maybe not a full recovery, will also help increase your endurance, and in time will help you breathe a little bit easier and not get out of breath as quickly. All right guys, so these are just some short tips and I hope this helped you, and I will see you guys next time. Make sure you just subscribe to this channel and comment down below what you want to see next.